Mr. Goodman.
In your books, your heroes are such as John Galt, Hank Rearden, and Howard Roark. These are all superior people. This has led to the confusion of your philosophy with that of the Nietzschean concept of the Uberman. Would you comment upon the differences?
Well, yes, certainly, because here it's an equivocation on the word superior. If you mean superior in the sense of excellence, and superior is a bad word to use here, if you mean that some men excel, are better than other men by a means of a self-developed, self-made virtue, that is a different thing entirely than Nietzsche's concept, which divided men in effect into two species. You see, the word superior is more applicable to Nietzsche's philosophy. It is a word which we never use. And I never describe my heroes as superior men. I describe them as ideal men, which is a different concept entirely. Now, in Nietzsche's concept, a man is superior or inferior by birth. It has nothing to do with morality. He is born one way or the other. Now, if men are determined to be something by birth, this places the whole issue outside the province of morality. You can neither take credit nor blame for an issue in which you have no choice. Morality pertains only to those aspects of existence in which man has a choice. Now, objectivism holds that man is a being of self-made soul, meaning that he has the choice to create his own virtue or vice, not superiority and inferiority, but excellence, efficacy, or incompetence, weakness, evasion, all of which are within the province of man's choice and are determined by him, not by any kind of innate determinism. So that the difference there is enormous, but it is only a superficial kind of mentality which would say, since you admit that there is such a thing as some men who are better in some respects than others, you are therefore in the same category philosophically as Nietzsche, who believes that men are divided into two different species. You can see that Nietzsche and objectivists in this respect stand at opposite poles philosophically and do not agree, do not belong in the same category.
Ms. Rand, it's often said that if a man is truly superior, why should he follow the same moral codes as the inferior people have to follow?
Because again, you do not define clearly here the terms superior and inferior. A moral code has to be based on man's nature. Men do belong to the same species. They are the same kind of living being, and therefore any moral code to be objective has to be applicable to that which constitutes the essence of the nature of the entity for whom that code is intended. A code which contradicts man's nature is impossible for him to practice, and certainly altruism is an arch example of that kind of code. Rationally, a code of morality has to be based on the nature of the being for whose guidance it is intended. Since men are all examples of the same species, their fundamental rules of conduct, that which is common to all of them and applies to all of them, will have to be the same. If some men are better than others in certain talents or in certain achievements, this is merely a matter of degree. It is a difference of degree, not of kind. Therefore, you couldn't have different rules for so-called superior men or inferior men. To begin with, those terms have to be defined, and if they are defined in terms of innate ability or acquired moral character, in both cases, the basic rules will have to be the same for all men, since they are based on the fundamentals of man's nature, not on degrees of their achievement or of their virtue. No morality will, no proper morality, will consist of concrete, narrow, specific rules. Every morality consists of wide, basic principles. Therefore, the use, the application of those principles, which a better man or a lesser man will make, will differ according to the nature of their own moral status or their own ability. That's the application. The degree will differ, not the basic principle, which will, in logic, have to be the same for all.
Mr. Gotthelf.
Mr. Rand, would you agree that there is, in fact, an inherent contradiction in the last question? If the question meant superior in terms of moral excellence, then a man is superior only to the extent to which he follows a certain moral code. So then to ask...
Of course, that's a very good observation. There is a contradiction in the question.